What's going on, y'all? It's your boy WiscoReaction coming at you with another reaction video. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to smash that like button down below, hit that sub, and flip them notifications over to all. Alright, so we jumping into some more Upchurch vlogs here. We are about 3 months back. This is Ryan Edwards of Emerald. Now, I know some of his titles, or one of his titles said something about Emerald tablets, I believe, which I know of because I think Cat Williams was talking about it on, like, Rogan's show or something. I caught on to this. I actually listened to the Emerald tab, or a version of the Emerald tablets that was translated on Spotify. I was actually asking one of my buddies that has knowledge of the region about that. But yeah, it's interesting that Church came across it as well, but I assume he also listens to Rogan. Maybe, or maybe it's just coincidental energy in the air. Who knows? But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump up in this one.
All right, look. You know how they're taking people off the internet right now? And those people that they're taking off the internet
Cancel
are
culture.
saying some
very crazy things.
right? Then after they're taken off the internet, the people that take them off the internet, still after they're gone, they try to convince you, even though they're not there anymore, they try to convince you,
They're crazy. They're crazy.
well, if they're crazy, why didn't you just leave them there so everyone could see they're crazy? If they're crazy, that would solidify you saying they're crazy.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get about cancel culture is it's like, okay, if they're so fucked up, if they're so goddamn crazy, if we shouldn't, you know, why don't you let society decide for themselves instead of canceling them for us?
And you wouldn't have to say anything. You could just let them be crazy.
That ain't the case.
But while this quote-unquote
Crazy person.
is on the internet, they say a lot of stuff, right? Almost too much. It's like they're exploding with stuff to say. And then when they're gone off the internet, way later on you find out half the shit they said was true. Half the shit
Alex Jones.
they said was true. Like, so true it's scary.
Or is it so true that it's sacred?
I mean, think about it. We have freedom of speech, but they don't have the freedom to noise and language. Well, noise, language, and speech are one and the same, right? Okay, well, what's the purpose in splitting it down the middle and making it two things? Taking it from uni, which is one, to bi, which is two. Well, to unify people is to bring people together and be on the same page. But there's some sort of reason they make us say bye to them. Peace out. Literally, peace out. Whoever's doing this doesn't want peace for us. They want a piece of us to be
Yo, I've said this in so many of his videos, but I love his fucking wordplay. I love his critical thinking, man.
missing from the equation. Well, how would you do that? You take a piece out, and then you hide that piece so good that no one ever knew it existed. So you think the whole that is not wholesome is whole, when actually it's still missing a piece. Which is why they say, well, we got to pick up all the pieces and put it back together. It's called a puzzle. No, there's only one piece missing for unification, not multiple. But if you're walking around thinking there's multiple pieces missing, well, then you're what? You're puzzled. And why do you become puzzled? Because you're stepping over the one piece that matters, looking for a bunch of
Hey, One Piece is an anime. Yeah, I just went off to the side on that one.
non-existent pieces. Then when you overlook the one and only piece that exists and matters, because you can't find all these other pieces that don't exist, you give up on putting the puzzle back together to be unpuzzled, which is why you still can't read the pyramids. Now look, we're going to take a literal moment of silence because too much
Yeah, the cap's missing from the pyramid. Huh. Funny how that works.
is too fast. And you got to give yourself a second to relax. I'm going to play a sound, a megahertz. that is designed to clear your mind of stress. Just listen to it for a few seconds.
Bro, I'm wearing headphones. What the fuck?
All right, so before we get started again, don't ignore the fact that this feels like a second video now, even though it's the same video. Yeah. But before we go any further, I have to tell you something. And some things don't have to be explained. Some things are just, they just are. Recently, I started thinking different. And it was only after a series of things happened. And those things were, okay, so not in Tennessee, elsewhere, I came across two objects that I became infatuated with. I lost those objects for a couple months. And one day, they randomly popped back up in the weirdest places. Those two things being this Roman coin.
Yo, I feel like I remember when he was like posted on Instagram or something, like asking people what it was. Unless it was a different coin, but because I think I was commenting on it, like trying to help him out.
And this little emerald heart.
Oh, that's dope.
And ever since, even if I lose them, they show back up. And when they pop back up, I was like, oh, damn. I was excited because I've been looking for these things. Well, I walk out to my office. When I get to my office, there's this book on my desk. And I was like, dang, that looks like an important book. Like, whose is this? Like, so I put it up for a couple days. Well, then I started reading it. Then I was like, okay, I gotta find out whose book this is. This is a very important book. Here it is.
Oh, is that your secret language book?
This book is called a handy. And once you read the book, you realize that the word handy that's on the front, you can barely see it. What do you know? It teaches you that the word handy is actually the wise hand. How you decode that is on the front of the book. It says church-centered recreation. Well, when you recycle something, it's one thing that's being broken down and used for another reason. So I thought to myself, what is the reason of this recreation of the church committee, right? Well then, once I had found the coin and the emerald heart, and then this popped up, has 4 rings on it, not 3. We have 3 ring binders, right? This has 4. It's a lot smarter, I must say, for 1927. By the way, this book's not for sale on the internet. I've already looked. Only remanufactured versions that are younger than this one. So, after those 3 things pop up, I read this for a little bit. Something that I had not seen since I was 11 popped up. My Holy Bible. That has the name Ryan Upchurch on it in gold. Recreation of the Church Committee. Ryan Upchurch's Holy Bible. So you can go either way. You can read this book first and then this one, or this one first and then this one. What does that look like? Recycling from front to back, from back to front. What do they say? Don't judge a book by its cover. No, you should judge a book by its cover. This book makes you knowledgeable that only half of this book is true. You know why? It's holy. It has holes poked in it, so you don't understand all the words. Now imagine trying to read
Like the Gospels that aren't included? Like lots of them?
this book after you jab a bunch of holes in it. Well, then you're not going to be able to read it. Only half of what's there is going to make sense, because the other half is not there. Just like the puzzle piece you can't find. Now, what has everybody been in search of for thousands and thousands and thousands of years? The secrets of what? Where our existence is, the universe. Okay? Well, if you know this, universe means what? one script. One script. Okay? Well, there's no such thing as a bi-verse, right? So skip that one. Is there a third one lingering around right now in our
Triverse.
universe? Well, of course. It's called the multiverse. Now, what would go in the middle of uni and multi? Bible. Well, what if they made numerous of in different forms and different kinds and different places and different religions? They've made multiple versions of scripture. That's why you got so many different icons and all these different characters, when really, none of them are real. You know why? Because God is within you. You are God. You are. You ever hear him say the spirit molecule? Yeah, the spirit molecule is real. It's in your DNA. Your DNA is infinite. This language, this internal language is infinite, which is why it always resurfaces. So if this is the illustration of DNA, well then on the flip side, you know that it's infinite because it comes back again and again and again and again and again and again. Now, do you really need all this DNA molecule stuff to understand that? No. Let's draw a DNA strand in a single molecule form. A uni-molecule or spirit molecule or hieroglyph. It resembles a twisted stairway, right? So if you're walking a stairway to heaven and the stairway is twisted, you're actually walking the wrong direction. Sounds a little sideways, right? Well, if you were walking the path to heaven that was twisted backwards and it was a sideways illustration, then that would be the gate. Has nothing to do with DNA, like the scientific term DNA. It's an illustration. So if you're really determined to get to heaven and the staircase is twisted, you'd be walking up and then back down, walking up and then back down, walking up and then back down, recycling. And when you walk up and you actually end back down on ground level, you're getting frustrated because you're back on ground level. But you shouldn't be, because you're supposed to stay grounded in current time, like an electrical current, grounded. And you get angry on ground level because you cannot reach this non-existent door. Let me ask you something. You ever hear the phrase heaven on earth? We're living in heaven right now. You ever heard the phrase follow your heart? Well, when someone's like, oh man, that guy's got such a big heart, they're so grounded on earth. Now watch this. A ear to hear the art of heart, for me and for you. And what is for me and for you? 4 plus 4. Infinite happiness. 8. Same as the infinity symbol. And how do we get to this point? Each side has to put 2 and 2 together. And once we put 2 and 2 together, we also have to cancel out all the bad stuff. 2 minus 2.
I'm just sitting here enjoying his thinking, to be honest. Like, in case y'all are wondering why I don't have too much commentary, it's just like I'm taking the lesson for church, dude. Like, and that's not to say like church is, you know, the gospel of knowledge and all this kind of shit. Like, that's just to say like it's very curious thinking. Like, I'm seeing what he's saying, but it's just, yeah. I love the wordplay, the critical thinking. Like, that's all. It's the way people should be. Curious.
So now look at the twos as an individual person helping an individual person on both sides of the spectrum. Hence the old term spectacles. Same thing as a hieroglyph. If you put on your spectacles, you can see clearly. Putting 2 and 2 together. On the other side of the fence, putting 2 and 2 together. That's 4 eyeballs, 2 people, literally figuring the bad out of their life, which ends in enlightenment on both sides. 2 halos. You put the 2 halos together, well, then you're clearly seeing eye to eye. And you know what this means, right? There's a lie floating around deceiving people. And what would that lie be? That lie would be opening your third eye. If you're not seeing eye to eye with someone else, then you are one less eyeball. 3 eyes. You're in your own room. And by being in your own room, I mean like being in your own head. Deceiving yourself and thinking something that is not true, which means you are not seeing clearly, which is why they depict it as, oh man, if you have the third eye, you see so clear. No, you don't. You don't see clear at all. A fool doesn't realize that he's not fooling everyone else as much as he's fooling his own self. Anybody that wants to argue that, all right, go find me a pair of glasses with 3 lenses. That is a egotistical person that thinks they're smarter than everyone else. When they're not, because there's not glasses with 3 lenses. There's only glasses with 2. If you think you have the third eye, well, then you're just inside your own head, thinking you have this one third eye. Which is why the depiction of one of the dumbest creature is what? A cyclops. Something that has 1 eye. Because if you have 3 eyes and you cover your regular eyes, where's your other one that can see? It can't. In this day and age, if somebody is spewing a bunch of nonsense about something and you're trying to tell them about it, even with their eyes open, talking to you, what do? You say, dude, are you blind or something? It means you're blind. 4 eyes. That being said, this is the last thing we'll talk about today, but before we get on to pyramids, this is why the diagram looks kind of like the Sphinx. Well, this is supposed to be something that nobody knows. What's missing from the Sphinx? What's missing from the Sphinx? Its nose. What's beside the Sphinx? A pyramid. All right. So, pyramid. Here is one side of a pyramid. Here is the overhead view of a pyramid. Now, here's the thing about a pyramid. You don't have to go inside the pyramid to understand it. You have to stand outside the pyramid and look at it. If you don't understand what the outside means, there is no point in walking in. Now, if you look at the word pyramid, if you look at it and you sound it out to yourself, pyramid, this is what you have. You have this. First off, by looking at it, you have pi, the diagram for 3.14. At literal pi. Then, if you sound it out, you have peer. Peer, as in looking at something or focusing on something. You're peering at something. Then the definition of amid, which is in the middle. In the middle of what? Not the middle of the pyramid. In the middle of your consciousness, your brain, your soul. You are peering amid of the center of yourself. How do you figure this out? By your brain functioning in a different dimension. Like the literal definition of a dimension. Like an angle, kind of like a carpenter. Here's how. You have to try to see it at a different angle. Here's your 1, 2, 3. And you have the point. You have one base at the very bottom underneath this, like what it's sitting on, the foundation. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. There's your 3.14. Pyramid. We already know this took 2 great minds to come up with this. I bet they had really good ideas. Blink. Oh wait, no, they didn't have light bulbs back then. Oh, they had thunderbolts though. 2 thunderbolts. But hey, the ancient spirits covered up. How? Well, there's another guy that come along with 2 lightning bolts. And then the one guy said to the other, hey, Zeus. Zeus came with 2 lightning bolts. You get it? Let me guess, you did not see that. I'll leave you on this. It's an X, isn't it? It is. I want you to remember this. X marks the spot.
It's a mid.
What spot? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that people try to explain that shouldn't have to be explained. See you later, alligator.
Smell you later. Oh, that's dope. There's the emerald tablet. Church making you think, that's for sure. Church making you think. Fitting that I chose the Cosmic Clouds background on this one, too. I swear I didn't do that shit on purpose. I just picked a random one that I like. Yeah, man. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. The only other thing that comes to mind, whether it's directly related to what he's talking about or not, is there's a capstone, the top of the pyramid, that has been missing. Wonder why. Sphinx is missing the nose, missing the capstone at the top. Pretty sure nobody knows where the capstone is either. I love these kind of, like, whether you believe what he's saying or not, you understand what he's saying or not, whether you, any of that shit, right? I love the critical thinking. I love the wordplay. I love the playing with ideas. Like, this brings out, like, I was always the why kid, the question kid. Like, I love wonderment. Love it. So this kind of shit, like, call him crazy, say whatever the fuck you want, man. I don't give a shit. I like it. Y'all like this reaction video, please be sure to smash that like button down below. Thank you guys for commenting, sharing, subscribing. Be sure to check out Upchurch's page. Link tree is down in the description below for my socials. And as always, I really appreciate y'all being here. I really do, man. Without you, channel's nothing, man. Truth. Full truth. So, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.